found out about the Barbie movie while watching a video of Margot Robbie rollerblading on Venice Beach. It surprised me that she was getting a huge $20 million for the role, making her the highest paid actress in Hollywood. I wasn't shocked by this though, because Robbie is a versatile actress, like Nicole Kidman or Cate Blanchett. What makes her stand out is her focus on acting rather than her popularity as a celebrity. But my excitement lessened when I learned that Barbie was going to be a feminist film. This made me a bit worried. I want to make it clear that I support feminism, especially now, but it seems like Hollywood is turning it into a common thing for every female-focused movie. And many of these movies are just really bad. Despite the unrelenting marketing onslaught, whether encountered in front of movie theaters, the bustling streets of New York, or a captivating animated display in Dubai, and even the tempting offer to rent Barbie's Malibu house for a mere $60 a night, I resisted the temptation. While the masses flocked to theaters, I opted to stay at home, immersing myself in the timeless films of Julia Roberts.
Thank you ever so much.
You're welcome. Opinions on the matter varied widely. Some hailed it as an engaging feminist masterpiece, while others, particularly men, expressed reservations about Greta Gerwig's film.
This is an assault on not just Ken, but all men.
It's 1 hour and 54 minutes of extended misandry, dressed up with a few fun dance routines and one or two, granted fairly decent, jokes.
Well, frankly, we saw the movie on Sunday night, and the movie is worse than you could possibly expect. It's hardcore propaganda.
I have more Barbies than I can count in my house because of all my girls. Why won't they let our little girls have anything?
This film is a giant catfish, and you use the Barbie name to try and shoehorn these ideologies into a kid's film.
What the
Run.
Here's a little secret. Those who were bothered by the supposed feminist angle of this movie and made a big fuss about it turned out to be more effective in grabbing my attention than any high-profile marketing campaign could. Surprisingly, their strong reactions actually fueled my curiosity and might have influenced my positive perception of the film. It's quite unbelievable that figures like Piers Morgan or Candace Owen ended up being my unexpected influencers. As a male, I'm not exactly the target audience for this movie, and to this day, I can't definitively say whether I liked it or not. But I can certainly offer you my analysis. Birth of a project. Barbie is an old project. It all started in April 2014 when Sony Pictures got its hands on the film rights. Over the years, there were several shifts in writers and directors, and the casting initially featured Amy Schumer, your favorite not-so-funny comedian who loves to steal jokes and bully Asia Jackson online. The rights eventually moved to Warner Bros. Pictures in October 2018. Gal Gadot was in the running for the role, but thankfully she turned it down. No disrespect intended, but let's face it, she's not exactly known for being the most talented actress, and her acting skills are often subject to criticism and mockery.
Kalel, no!
You don't send a man to do a woman's job.
And enough champagne to fill the night. I need you to give me the stone. What happened to it? Stone.
Stone.
So thankfully, the role went to Margot Robbie, a highly respected actress, recognized for her professional achievements rather than her personal life or beauty. Indeed, with 2 Oscar nominations, 3 Golden Globes nominations, 5 BAFTA nominations, and 6 SAG nominations under her belt, Robbie was the perfect choice for this part. The character of Ken is portrayed by Ryan Gosling. America Ferrara, our very own Betty Suarez, plays the role of Gloria, an employee at Mattel. Her character becomes pivotal in the storyline, connecting with Barbie and ultimately playing a crucial role in saving the day, all thanks to her connection with her daughter. Barbie is a fantasy comedy film and was directed by Greta Gerwig, who co-wrote the screenplay with her husband, Noah Baumbach. Together, they went through a Barbie boot camp organized by Mattel. This camp included a history lesson about Barbie's creator, Ruth Handler, and a tour of Barbie's various fashion styles. When the pandemic hit, the couple had to work on the script from their home in New York. Margot Robbie, whose company Lucky Chap produced the film, made sure Gerwig and Baumbach had the creative space to come up with their own ideas without external pressures. Despite Barbie being around since 1959, it took over 60 years to bring her to the big screen. Through this live-action adaptation, we gain a new perspective on the iconic fashion dolls as it explores Barbie's life in a matriarchal society called Barbie Land. Barbie has etched its name in cinematic history, raking in an astounding gross of $1.44 billion. This landmark achievement positions it as the highest-grossing film of 2023, holding the title for both the top-grossing film by a solo female director and within the Warner Bros. Portfolio. Remarkably, it claims the 14th spot among the highest-grossing films of all time and proudly stands as the most successful comedy film to date. Surpassing Oppenheimer box office sales, it also achieved the remarkable feat of securing the best domestic debut ever for a film directed by a woman, surpassing the previous record held by 2019's Captain Marvel, $153 million, as reported by the LA Times. Notably acknowledged by the National Board of Review and the American Film Institute, the film secured a coveted spot among the top 10 films of 2023. Its exceptional performance extends to the awards circuit, amassing nominations for 12 Grammy Awards, 9 Golden Globe Awards, 8 Oscar nominations, and an unprecedented 18 Critics' Choice Awards. I guess the Barbie movie's marketing cash is paying off big time. A new classic? Barbie's opening scene is an explicit homage to one of cinema's monumental masterpieces, Stanley Kubrick's 2001, A Space Odyssey. In Kubrick's classic, we witness apes in a bygone landscape grappling with the use of tools and confronting a mysterious monolith. Greta Gerwig's film kicks off similarly, but with a fresh twist involving young girls and a colossal Barbie. This iconic doll becomes a source of inspiration, compelling the girls to break their baby dolls, introducing a groundbreaking toy that opens up boundless possibilities, emphasizing that there are no constraints on what girls can aspire to become as they grow up. This sets the stage for Barbie Land, a women-centered utopia that looks like a gigantic amusement park where all Barbies reside. Margot Robbie takes on the role of stereotypical Barbie, taking the spotlight, while the Kens fade into the background, serving a role almost as inconspicuous as furniture. One night, while dancing, Barbie suddenly feels lost and unsure. This leads her to leave her perfect plastic world and step into our real and more complicated human world. To her surprise, Ken follows her and together they notice that the real world favors men and that misogyny is real. As Barbie tries to find her owner, Gloria, Ken enjoys the advantages of a patriarchal society and seizes the opportunity to take control of Barbie Land. Fortunately, with the help of Gloria and her daughter, Barbie and her friends come up with a plan. They dismantle the unfair system that Ken implemented, reinstating the original, harmonious, and joyful Barbie Land. When Barbie first hit the screens, fans wasted no time dubbing it a new classic. Defining what makes a classic film is a subjective matter, and for me, it's a personal connection. I'd like to note that, much like many revered classics, Barbie secured nominations in numerous categories at the Golden Globes and the Oscars, and it proved, one more time, that so-called female movies can be as relevant and successful as any other genre. For a film to earn the classic label in my book, it has to be widely known, boasting iconic shots, scenes, and dialogues, delivered by a stellar cast under the direction of a great filmmaker. Add in a few iconic outfits and, if possible, a memorable soundtrack, and you've checked all the boxes. Not to forget the subtle nods to other classics like Saturday Night Fever, Grease, or The Matrix. But also this nod to the Bratz, Barbie's enemies, in this scene. You can't tell me that these 4 high school girls are not the Bratz. Look at their hair and their attitude. And this girl's name is Sasha, by the way. Yet, what sets Barbie apart as a classic is the array of reactions it triggered. It became the subject of passionate love, intense dislike, and even a conversation on China's foreign policy, which we will talk about later. Much like enduring classics, Barbie has made an enduring impact on the world of fashion. The moment Margot Robbie graced the screen in that iconic pink ensemble, it triggered a surge in online searches, precisely a 416% increase in searches for pink clothing. TikTok became flooded with videos showcasing individuals flaunting pink outfits inspired by the movie. Attending the film in theaters became a significant event for youngsters, who eagerly contributed to the film's publicity by sharing photos and videos online, adorned in pink attire, thus propelling the Barbie universe into the limelight. Nicki Minaj, renowned for her Barbie-style persona, witnessed 4 of her songs featuring Barbie in the title ascend the Hot 100 chart. The most recent edition, Barbie World with Ice Spice, even secured a coveted spot on the Barbie movie soundtrack. Apart from its impact on fashion trends, the film triggered a notable increase in Barbie sales and sparked insightful conversations about childhood and mental health. Since its release in July, adults have taken to platforms like TikTok to narrate their experiences in rediscovering their inner child, often resorting to activities such as obtaining emotional support Barbies. Many, especially women, reminisce about a time when children engaged with dolls and toys instead of being consumed by video games or smartphones. It's as if the vibrant world of tangible play has faded, overshadowed by the increasing prevalence of young children succumbing to phone and screen addiction. Barbie attains classic status not merely for its portrayal of an iconic pop culture figure, but also because it leaves a lasting impression on everyone, irrespective of personal opinions. With its bold exploration of sexism, an uncommon theme in big-budget productions, it appears destined to be a film subject to discussion and debate for years to come.
It's an arrow at the bottom.
Why would you do that?
Now, the lingering question: can we genuinely label this movie as a feminist film? Is Barbie a feminist icon? I find it challenging to support Barbie's feminism because I struggle to understand how a doll that has played a role in shaping traditional gender roles can effectively serve as a platform for feminist discussions. Barbie's history is marked by controversies, such as the 1965 slumber party Barbie with scales set to a skinny weight and a diet book encouraging her not to eat. There were also instances, like when Mattel created a doll that could develop breasts with a simple movement. Barbie personifies an unrealistic fantasy, both in her physical features and extravagant way of life. Her improbable existence is characterized by a neck twice as long and 6 inches slimmer than the average woman's, a waist measuring 16 inches smaller than her head, and legs half the length of her arms. This physical unattainability is mirrored in her lavish lifestyle, showcased by her $16 million Malibu dream house and a $125,000 pink Corvette. Barbie's portfolio of 108 diverse professions, ranging from modeling to Olympic gold medalist, surgeon, and even the President of the United States, further reinforces the perception of an unreachable life. The underlying issue lies in Barbie representing aspirations that only a select few women can achieve, creating the impression that the doll serves as a consolation prize for those who may not attain such heights. It seems to convey a message to women that they can be anything they desire, but if they fall short, here's a doll to offer solace. But the worst element in all this is Mattel. My critique of the company as non-feminist isn't based on the fact that it's led by a man, as humorously depicted in the film. Even though the doll was initially crafted by a woman, mere association with a female creator doesn't inherently categorize a company as feminist. Mattel's yearly contribution of around $250,000 to charities aiding young girls, though praiseworthy, inadequately tackles the overarching issues, especially when considering the company's annual revenue in the billions.
I'm not judging, all I'm saying is
The damning evidence against Mattel emerges in its dismal track record, notably exemplified by the tragic case of Hun Yanjun, a Chinese female worker who, allegedly, took her own life in 2011 due to deplorable working conditions at a factory producing toys for Mattel, Taichung Toys in Shenzhen. Hun Yanjun, a mother of two, endured grueling 11-hour workdays, 7 days a week, driven by the dire need to provide for her family and secure a better future for her children. The relentless pressure to meet Mattel's production quotas, coupled with an inflexible schedule, exacted a toll on her physical and mental well-being. When Hun Yanjun sought a brief respite from the factory, her plea was met with scolding from workshop managers, who not only reprimanded her but also denied her a single day off. China Labor Watch reported that, after being yelled at by management for producing too slowly, Hun Yanjun went to the 4th floor and tragically jumped to her death. Interviews with Hu's family and co-workers revealed that she was threatened with termination and pressured to resign on the day of her suicide. Disturbingly, despite contacting the International Council of Toy Industries hotline, Hu's family received no response for many days, and their subsequent protest for justice outside the factory gate was allegedly met with violent retaliation. This distressing incident is not an isolated occurrence. A prior investigation by China Labor Watch, ActionAid France, and Solidar Suisse brought to light a hostile environment for female workers producing Barbie dolls in a Mattel-owned factory in China. Sexual harassment marred the workplace, and despite being aware of the situation, Mattel failed to take appropriate action.
关于女性方面的骚扰吧，因为经常有男员工就是问女员工要微信，然后想邀请他们出去吃饭，然后或者打电话什么的，还有偷拍。宿舍就是不是很安全，就是男生其实想上来就上来，就没有限制的那种。他们是其实是也不能说挺愿意，他们是害怕就是找不到人说，然后而且他们那些年轻的员工，他们那些女员工，他们就就是因为他们教育层次也不是说教育层次，就是他们知道的很多东西都很片面，就了解社会了解的很少，所以说他们面对就是这些事情，他们也找不到就是更好的方法去面对，就只能自己。
So, what motivated Mattel to greenlight such a movie? In this context, Barbie undergoes a transformation into a versatile asset, strategically advancing Mattel's financial interests. It functions not only as a cinematic advertisement but also as a merchandise product, establishing the groundwork for a myriad of forthcoming items. Furthermore, the film signals a deliberate shift in Mattel's business strategy, extending beyond traditional doll sales to strategically exploit the Barbie brand by managing franchises in collaboration with commercial partners, particularly in cultural domains such as movies, fashion, and music. At the film's release, Mattel initiated 165 product partnerships, including one with Warner Music Group for an album featuring the movie's soundtrack. According to The New Yorker, 13 more films have been publicly announced, with an additional 45 currently in development. In essence, Mattel is aligning itself with the business model employed by industry giants like Marvel and Disney. The company openly champions social justice causes to craft a virtuous and subversive image, especially in response to accusations of wokeness from conservative figures, all the while maximizing merchandise sales. And, let's not kid ourselves, this movie essentially functions as a 144-minute-long product placement production that not only glorifies a controversial doll but also entices viewers to buy into everything. While watching the film, my eyes rolled at the prominent role played by an immaculate Chevrolet 4x4, and I couldn't help but chuckle at the camera's focus on Barbie's heart-shaped Chanel bag. Ryan Gosling, portraying Ken, sports 3 Tag Heuer watches simultaneously at one point, and I immediately sensed that Mattel would market the I Am Kinoug hoodie he wore at the end.
Feminism in Hollywood.
When feminism and pop culture join forces, it's not always a fairy tale romance. Looking at Hollywood with a genuine feminist view, you'll see there aren't many feminist films. You can count them on one hand. I'm talking about shows like Mrs. America and movies such as Thelma and Louise, If These Walls Could Talk, North Country, or The Glorias, and that's it. It's easy to confuse movies featuring female lead characters or addressing feminine issues with those that authentically support feminist ideas. Simply having a female lead doesn't automatically mean the movie advocates for women's rights or liberation. Now, it seems as though every movie or show about women is now labeled feminist, even those that initially had no apparent connection to women's liberation, like Charlie's Angels or Baywatch. The Hollywood version of feminism has become a marketable commodity, turning even figures like Angeline into feminist icons.
I was so kind of deeply enamored of her and kind of her feminine power and her kind of protesting the patriarchy in her way. I got this. She's a real badass. Yeah. She's a feminist in the most unexpected way.
In response to the feminist movement's call for greater representation in media, platforms like Netflix, HBO Max, and Disney Plus have launched shows with feminist themes, reflecting the cultural zeitgeist. Barbie's recent embrace of feminism aligns with this trend. Hollywood has finally acknowledged that women make up half of the population. After years of sidelining female narratives in favor of male-driven stories, women are now taking center stage across various genres, from action to comedy, horror to drama. This shift isn't confined to television and film, it extends to music videos as well. Artists like Jennifer Lopez and Beyoncé have prominently featured feminist themes in their work, whether through striking visuals or direct nods to feminist icons like Gloria Steinem or Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. These music videos contribute to the broader movement of promoting feminist ideals in popular culture. Identifying as feminist has not only become a matter of pride, but also a form of cultural currency for Hollywood stars and music celebrities alike. The term feminism has saturated mainstream and social media to such an extent that it has become the new F-word. Meghan Markle, hailed as the UK's feminist princess, is just one example in a growing list. It's no wonder that feminism was named Merriam-Webster's Word of the Year in 2017. By pretending to care about the well-being of women through elaborate internal benchmarks, discussions, and communication campaigns, Hollywood seems, since the #MeToo revelations, to be trying to catch up with society and the ongoing discussions it engages in. This is mainly because anything remotely feminist proves to be financially rewarding. Just look at the numerous brands offering promotions on International Women's Day or notice how advertising has easily incorporated feminist themes. Over the last decade, TV shows and movies have aligned with feminism to different extents, not just for artistic or feminist reasons, but mainly because it brings in profits. But here's something important to note, this pattern may water down the true essence of feminism. This all started in the 80s when feminism sort of got mixed up with the convenient, yet somewhat depoliticizing, concept of empowerment. This idea suggests that all a woman needs to do is believe in herself to get what she wants. Barbie's take on feminism reflects this kind of shallow thinking. It's like the famous girl power slogan of the Spice Girls in the 90s, a catchphrase without much substance, telling women they can achieve anything by just believing in themselves. It's the kind of feminism embodied by Sheryl Sandberg, the former Facebook executive, who cheerfully urges women to believe in themselves, transcend limitations, and assert dominance in the world.
The women's movement is probably somewhat responsible for that slogan, which is, of course, a lie. And, I fear that the idea that you're strengthening your daughter by saying you can be anything really ends up making her feel guilty if she can't.
It paints a picture of a world where patriarchy isn't a problem, where challenges disappear with sheer determination. In essence, it puts the blame on women, making them the issue rather than addressing the bigger problems tied to patriarchy.
Barbie's problematic feminism.
This film's approach to feminism remains rather surface level. Much like the music industry, the movie only lightly touches on feminist themes, especially evident in the character portrayed by America Ferrera, named Gloria, likely as a nod to Gloria Steinem. Speaking of Gloria Steinem, have you ever noticed that whenever a TV show wants to convey a feminist message, they often bring her into the mix?
Oh my God. Oh no, but thank you. I'm Gloria Steinem. I'm Gloria. I was a friend of your father's.
Like I said, no original way to say this, but so just thank you. Thank you. I have admired you my entire life.
Well, I guess that means we care about the same things.
I would like to think so.
The film predominantly tackles gender issues, particularly when Barbie encounters the real world and its inhospitality towards women. However, it simplifies power dynamics to a binary struggle between men and women, neglecting considerations of class and race. The term patriarchy is thrown around without exploring nuances or addressing the complexity of women's roles in perpetuating or challenging these power structures. There's a notable absence of discussions about the diversity among women in the real world and a lack of engagement with the current global challenges women face. The movie falls short in addressing other intersecting oppressions linked to the patriarchy, such as racial, economic, and climate injustices, the last being admittedly challenging for a doll made of fossil fuel-derived plastic. And I don't like that this movie pushes the narrative that women being idiots is a strategic move to topple the patriarchy. We can do better. Within Barbie Land, men assume the role of ornaments rather than equal or genuine partners. Ken, the male counterpart, exists solely with the ambition of becoming Barbie's boyfriend, consistently grappling with feelings of inadequacy. Throughout the narrative, Ken is either overlooked, disregarded, underestimated, or, at best, begrudgingly acknowledged and relegated to a compelled Kendom until the realization dawns that he is Kinoa'd by the movie's conclusion. Barbie Land appears to substitute one hierarchy for another. If Gerwig's aim was to mirror the real-world exclusion of women, it comes across more as a caricature than a faithful representation. While I acknowledge the challenges women often face in our societies, comparing the status of women in the real world to the almost non-existent status of men in Barbie Land seems incongruous. Therefore, the question arises, is an oppressive matriarchy the solution to patriarchy? I don't think so. When it comes to men, Gerwig takes a page from Elizabeth Banks' playbook in her unnecessary remake of Charlie's Angels. In both instances, every man is painted as a fool, which might not be outright offensive but certainly comes off as uninspired and detached from reality.
Bolígrafos. Bolígrafos.
No, don't. Barbie, quicker to go over the cubicle. It's quicker. Watch your flank. I got shot. It's impossible. Oh no! Now we're never gonna get Barbie. Oh.
Depicting men as buffoons could even be deemed offensive to women. I mean, seriously, if women are supposed to be subservient to these absurdly dim-witted men, what does that imply about their intelligence? It's a legitimate question. While I'm all for a bit of male bashing, it would have been far more captivating and truthful to delve into the realm of toxic masculinity instead of portraying misogynistic oppressors as nothing more than comical figures desperately seeking affection. I strongly dislike how the portrayal of the Mattel board in the film suggests that sexism solely results from men holding dominant positions in the industry. While it's undeniable that corporations still predominantly feature male leadership, reflecting long-standing patriarchal norms, it's important to recognize that women can also perpetuate sexism and patriarchy. Numerous works on white feminism, such as Rafia Zakaria's Against White Feminism or Ruby Hamad's White Tears, Brown Scars, highlight instances where women, often white women, contribute to the reproduction of sexism, and even racism, against women of color who sometimes happen to be from lower socioeconomic classes. Gloria's speech, tailored for the girl boss archetype, fails to make a lasting impression on me for various reasons. Firstly, it reiterates well-worn societal expectations about womanhood, promoting cliches such as you have to be thin, but not too thin, and you have to never get old, never be rude, never show off, never be selfish, never fall down, never fail, never show fear, never get out of line. These statements offer nothing new or groundbreaking, contributing to a lack of originality. Secondly, the speech lacks depth, merely skimming the surface of a critique of the gender hierarchy. It predominantly caters to a surface-level critique relevant to white women, oversimplifying the idea that the system is universally rigged against all women. While advocating for women breaking the glass ceiling is commendable, there's a glaring oversight regarding those who must clean up the shattered glass on the floor so that a select few can ascend to the top. The involvement of a woman of color, America Ferrera, in delivering this speech raises concerns. It seems as though her identity is exploited to lend an extra layer of acceptance to an elitist message that does not address anything regarding the issue of race or class. This tactic is reminiscent of politicians using individuals from marginalized groups to express views contrary to their own identity for the benefit of the dominant majority. Gloria's speech appears to betray feminism by aligning itself too comfortably with capitalism. It neglects the experiences of working-class women, who constitute the majority, and says nothing about the specific issues faced by women of color. Ironically, these women are often involved in the production of the products endorsed by the movie, working for companies where they endure underpayment, overwork, and abuse. This failure to address the broader spectrum of women's experiences weakens the speech's credibility and contradicts the very essence of feminist ideals. The film briefly touches on the criticism of Barbie for setting unrealistic beauty standards for young girls, alluded to when Gloria's daughter makes her feel out of place in the human world. However, the movie sidesteps this critical issue entirely, missing a valuable opportunity to explore it more profoundly and move beyond surface-level commentary. Let's be honest, Barbie has consistently represented the epitome of beauty, drawing inspiration from a German adult gag gift escort doll named Lily in her original design. Many women aspire to emulate her, some resorting to multiple cosmetic surgeries, such as Cindy Jackson, who has undergone over 50 procedures to mirror her idol's nose and figure. Moreover, the film doesn't shy away from highlighting how Barbie introduces children to capitalism in the pursuit of wealth. Beyond her extensive wardrobe and accessories, Barbie boasts significant assets like custom-made houses, planes, and cars, all emblazoned with her name and signature shade of pink. It could have been a brilliant move for the film to recognize that one can be anything, but this message often aligns with embodying male desire and requiring the financial means for such aspirations. In what seems like a poignant moment, Barbie encounters an older, wrinkled woman in the human world and emotionally exclaims, "You are so beautiful," suggesting a newfound humanity for the doll. However, when the real-world impact of the film on its fans, mainly through Barbie merchandise, intersects with the lives of actual human women, it paradoxically encourages them to erase signs of aging and strive for firm, youthful skin through the Barbie Glow Jelly face mask. The irony is striking, preaching acceptance while subtly endorsing the same beauty standards Barbie has been criticized for perpetuating. It's a missed opportunity for a much-needed reality check. The movie ends with Barbie going to a gynecologist to have her newly developed vagina examined. Am I the only one feeling uneasy about this? Isn't this a weird nod to the only a real woman with a vagina is a woman anti-trans crowd? Of all the themes in the world, why did Gerwig choose a gynecologist appointment to show us the most female moment for Barbie? The more I delved into this film, the clearer it became about the nuances of white feminism, especially after the uproar following Robbie and Gerwig's Oscar snubs. Social media erupted with fans and Hollywood insiders passionately declaring that Margot Robbie and Greta Gerwig's exclusion epitomized the patriarchy. Yet, hold on a second, America Ferrera snagged a nomination. Big deal, right? Oh, wait, she's not a white woman. Does that even register on the Hollywood sympathy scale? The blatant disregard for America Ferrera, the brown woman whose impactful speech played a significant role in branding the movie as a feminist film, getting a Barbie Oscar nomination, while the focus remains on Margot's absence, perfectly illustrates the narrative of feminism only caring about white women. Then Hillary Clinton enters the scene, offering a consoling tweet to Gerwig and Robbie. While it might sting to win the box office but not take home the gold, your millions of fans love you, she expressed, signing off with a #HillyBarbie hashtag. It's a classic Clinton move, embraced by America Ferrera and Kate McKinnon, though the reasons for their admiration remain somewhat mysterious. Hillary Clinton.
That's my name.
Really? Are we stuck in 2016? It's crucial to recall Clinton's image as a figure associated with war, someone who hasn't notably advocated for women's progress, either at home or globally. While she expresses sympathy over Barbie's lack of nominations, it's important not to overlook that, like many US politicians and white feminists, she doesn't support a ceasefire in Palestine. Instead of lamenting the lack of nominations for two wealthy white Hollywood stars, perhaps she should reflect on the thousands, including many women and children, who have suffered and continue to suffer due to her policies.
But I guess women of color do not exist in Clinton's brand of feminism.
The specter of the 9- line casts a shadow over this film, serving as a reminder of how globalized capitalism influences everything in Hollywood. For those unfamiliar, the 9- line is employed by the Chinese to demarcate their maps and assert illegal claims over certain territories in the South China Sea. Vietnam is among the numerous nations challenging such unilateral assertions. In Barbie, a comically crude crayon drawing of the world map, confirming the 9- line, remains on the screen just a tad too long. This deliberate choice seems geared towards appeasing a Chinese audience and investors, a logical move considering the dolls are manufactured there. The film seemingly prioritizes reaching an additional 1.4 billion potential viewers over concerns about supporting imperialism and potential bans in Vietnam and the Philippines. However, it's essential not to lay blame on Barbie herself for oversights related to tricky geopolitics. Gerwig, too, may not have realized the profound impact of those seemingly innocent dashes when the map appeared on set. It's possible that some clandestine element at the studio inserted them, underscoring the film's significant issues concerning feminist values within capitalism. It's worth noting that supporting the overreach of global superpowers over contested territories aligns more with traditional patriarchal and nationalist values than anything associated with women's rights.
Conclusion. I'll never get out of here.
Certainly, Barbie emerges not as a feminist trailblazer but rather as a symbol of capitalism, a tool wielded by the patriarchal system, given the lucrative nature of liberal feminism. Following the film's release, Barbie seemed to have secured deals with every conceivable brand, ranging from cosmetic giants like OPI and NYX to corporate entities like Burger King. The Barbie film essentially serves as an elaborate promotion for the Barbie universe, conveniently sidestepping the gritty reality of the Mattel empire and offering nothing groundbreaking. Undoubtedly, the movie aimed for a broad audience, extending beyond the feminist crowd. It successfully introduces feminist concepts to a mass audience that may not have contemplated these ideas previously. The flurry of posts following its release suggests it achieved this goal. However, the film's strength in reaching everyone also becomes its Achilles heel. It could have ventured further. While it falls short of complete deconstruction, it takes the vital first step of raising awareness. It operates somewhat like a Trojan horse, borrowing from the wisdom of writer and activist Monique Wittig, presenting a somewhat limited brand of feminism that fails to acknowledge the diverse experiences among women. It feels contradictory to shape a narrative around the pressures on women and the problems with the patriarchy while overlooking the real women directly affected by the film's promotion of consumerism and glossy, risk-free feminism. Certainly, the movie provides entertainment, humor, and a sense of pride for female viewers. Yet, its perilous approach to feminism, the depiction of men as merely silly and childlike beings, neglecting the gravity of male oppression, and an evident reluctance to shake the cage too vigorously cannot be ignored. That being said, the standout gem in this movie is unquestionably Margot Robbie. My admiration for her dates back to I, Tonya, and witnessing her career evolve into one both remarkably rich and exceptionally diverse is truly captivating. While she may not have secured an Oscar nomination, it's only a matter of time before she claims that golden statue. Margot Robbie undoubtedly stands poised for a long, remarkable career. Let's hope that by then, women exert more influence in Hollywood production, resulting in female characters with less emphasis on physical attributes and a more authentic voice on women's issues.